So 2 weeks from today, middle school students, they will return to the classroom for in-person learning, but there is a lot to be done before then.
We will not compromise on safety. We're hiring additional staff to support our situation room in responding quickly to schools. We're adding teams to conduct weekly testing in middle schools, as well as continued weekly testing in all of our elementary schools. We're also prioritizing in-person staff returning to work for vaccine access.
All right, so joining us this morning is head of New York City's Teachers Union, UFT President Michael Mulgrew, to discuss this next major milestone and what it means for students and teachers. Good morning, Michael. So good to see you.
Nice to see you.
Okay, so we heard the chancellor there, Chancellor Carranza, in that press conference from earlier this week, talk about everything that it took to get in-person learning cleared in middle schools. How involved were you in that process, and do you feel like it is a good process going forward? Do you feel comfortable with this?
Well, when the city first came to us about middle schools, we just said you had to increase your testing capacity because that's what's required in their approved state plan. We're not going to take anyone's word that they're just going to be able to meet it. So it was really a series of about 2 weeks where the city then hired and started bringing together what were approximately 55 additional testing teams. And once we knew that those teams were hired, then they could reach the bar in terms of doing the 20% testing per week. So we were quite involved with that. And at the same time, we did say the vaccine program is, it's clearly not running smoothly anywhere, but we wanted to prioritize anyone who was in person in schools. So the city said, that is something we need to look at, and we're going to start to do that. So we are definitely prioritizing anybody who works in a school who's going to be in person. So we have, tomorrow starts the winter break, and so hopefully people take advantage of it because we want more and more people vaccinated.
But Michael, you don't have a lot of time here, right? The school's going to be starting fairly soon, and you've got to get these vaccines. And we've seen the long lines for the vaccines. So even with this prioritization, right, and teachers, I guess they're eligible starting tomorrow, what is that process going to look like, and will they be actually able to get it in time?
Well, there'll be there's two different. The UFT runs its own program, which we been successful at when we have vaccine. We're like everyone else. We're running around every day trying to find a vaccine, but that's been successful. And we just have to monitor the city sites right now. We've already been on it this morning. It's not running the way it's supposed to. We're going to go right back right after this phone call. We'll be talking to the city. You have to fix that. The priority vaccination appointments are not really inside of their system right at this moment. So in terms of vaccination, we want people to get it as much as possible. Today, the federal government, finally we have a federal program that's being rolled out, and what they're saying is the four major components are mask wearing, social distancing, ventilation, and contact tracing. We said that last August. We're happy the federal government has finally said those are the basic things that keep people safe. So for us, it's more about the PPE and the COVID response teams at every building, making sure that all those procedures are being followed, because that's the front line that keeps people safe.
Absolutely. So how are you selling this to teachers? Because all along we've heard a lot of teachers very worried about going back to the classroom, not feeling like they're going to be protected or they're going to be safe. And now we still have some of these steps in place. We're monitoring. We're not sure. We're hoping it goes, as planned. So how are you selling that to teachers, and will they be willing to come back?
What I do is I talk to all teachers in a very clear, transparent way. We're in a pandemic. There's nothing easy about this. And what I want people to recognize is, yes, there's teachers, there's anxiety, there's fear, sometimes there's anger and frustration, but that's what everyone's feeling. But in the end, you've seen the teachers of New York City continually step up and be the heroes. They're in the schools. We were the only large school system to be open in September. And that's a huge testament to the teachers. But what I tell all elected officials is what we do. You have to be clear and transparent. You don't have all the answers. You use the medical professionals, tell them where we're at that moment, and just don't play politics with this. And, and teachers are, as I said, we had a major town hall last week, and this was a big thing, but we're being transparent, and the
Right.
teachers continue to step up and be the heroes.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing that and this getting off without a hitch, hopefully. But we know there's a lot of
There
intricacies
will be a
within it.
hitch. I'm letting you know right
There's
now.
always
There will
hopeful
be.
thinking, Michael. But hey, I've got to get to this before we run out of time. High schools, they are next. Here's what Mayor Bill de Blasio had to say about that. Take a listen.
We're certainly going to look at high schools next. High schools, I want to get our high school kids back during the course of the current school year, but there's going to be more work needed. High school's a more complex situation.
Is that possible with the complexity of the situation?
At this moment, I mean, the first thing that has to be done is, can the city, again, create even more capacity to do 20% testing on a weekly basis? And right now, we have a lot of high school buildings that are being used as vaccination centers. So this, as always, our goal is to get our schools open. We've proven that again and again, but we have to do it safely. There's complexities, means a lot of things that have to be put in place, and we have quite a long ways to go.
That was a key overreaching word there. Michael Mulgrew.
Yeah, that's a bit of an overreach.
Exactly. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate your insight.
All right, be well and be safe.
You too.